Many Flesh and Blood TCG players asked the question, what the hell is Bronson doing on Outcast Haven podcast? Starts now. So that seems to be the hot topic of every content creator in the Fab universe, is talking about the professor. And it couldn't be a better week to have Mr. Bronson on, who comes from Magic the Gathering. And is this true? You used to worship the professor, like with a star and
Oh yeah, I was one of his students, got all the grades, took all his classes. No, I mean, I
Right.
like the guy's like philosophy on all of his stuff, but don't watch too much of his stuff. But man, that was a really cool video. He was
So
extremely salty, but he had a good justification, man. I can't imagine if I was in his shoes,
Bronson, give us a quick recap on what the video entailed for people that haven't watched it.
Oh, it was great. He did a he did a top 5 video, and he added a lot of spice by saying he didn't get a preview card for the Strixhaven for Magic the Gathering. And what's crazy is it's the whole college theme, and it has all with college stuff, and like the professor, his name is the professor, and he didn't get a preview card for Magic the Gathering, but then he realized like, hey, Flesh and Blood gave me one, so yeah, he basically said that he's gonna pump out a bunch of new videos for Flesh and Blood, teaching people how to get in the game, and it's huge, man. He's the biggest Magic the Gathering creator out there. So I mean, 500,000 subscribers or something. It's gonna get a lot of people into the game.
So the reason I started with that and opened with that is for this reason. So Red Zone Rogue posted, if they even get 5%, this will have a huge boom for the community. And I argue getting 5% from one guy would be insane marketing numbers in any aspect. If you get 1%, that would be really good. Typical marketing is 1%. So, and that's going with a very captured audience, which his average video is about 150,000. So what is that? 1,500 people roughly you would expect to capture from that video. So here's my worry. I didn't even watch this video. I did the whole read the headline, watched 35 seconds and made my comment. I love doing that. Come on. It's the greatest ever.
Such a jackass. All right.
So anyway, my concern is, let's say he got 10,000 people. Let's say 500,000 people watch that video and he gets 10,000, which is a good number, right? To come to the game. Where are those boxes coming from? So unless LSS has this very master plan that they have a warehouse somewhere where Holland is where they print the cards, Cardamundi, is that where they print them? So if do they have 25, 30,000 boxes? Because if you have instantly 10,000 new players that come into the game essentially overnight, which is kind of the big deal everybody's making it, that could be catastrophic for a game. Like legitimately catastrophic, given all the first edition is already sold out. There's no access to Crucible. You want Spoils of War, $120. That's what you get if you want to play Dorinthia properly. So what is up LSS's sleeve that they can put this on such a falutin Magic the Gathering channel? What do they have? What are your guys' opinions? What do they have stored up? Do they have a stock room full of product? Because they have to. If not, I feel that's catastrophic for this game. If you have that many people come in.
I'll open up just so Bronson's not like left to follow up Jason, because I know that can be difficult, Bronson, to follow up Jason sometimes. He comes in hot and heavy. No, I think that they don't have like a master plan or anything. They just are getting their game spread out there on a really affluent channel, which is super cool. I don't think that it's going to be catastrophic. I think that there's going to be a lot of people, like it's the 1% number, right? You might get 5% to say, hey, I'm going to look at Flesh and Blood. You probably get 1% that are actually going to be feasibly looking at buying into the game. Probably less than that manage to and start playing locals like within the next 2 weeks, right? So you're not going to get a huge surge in numbers, but I think for the longevity of the game's growth, like that parabola, right? That's gonna continue to build, like the more that this content gets put out by larger content creators from other games, which is fine. Like that's one of the reasons that we're gonna start looking at MetaZoo, right? We're gonna start putting out content on MetaZoo.
Nobody ever. Let me go get my
Oh,
color
The late
and
April.
make some art for it.
God, that is an April Fool's joke, right? No, it's not. It's funny.
So
Okay, no.
I'm just before I let Blake and Bronson go. The
Yeah,
reason
sorry.
I say this because I, as a job, I do business banking. I've watched companies experience extreme growth and die because of it. Literally watched it happen over a 5-year span to see such drastic growth. And instead of turning away some of the growth, they just took it all in and couldn't handle it. And then it ended up crashed because one downturn in the economy crashed the company. And that's one case of many that I've seen it. So I just believe slow, sustainable growth is better than let's get out to the biggest content creators right now. I think that's dangerous. Just my personal opinion of my life, things I've seen in my life.
Yeah, I think the biggest concern is definitely going to be product availability, because even right now you see a lot of it in the marketplaces or in the groups where people are asking about just Crucible cards. They're trying to figure out how to build decks without Crucible cards, which is a really unfortunate thing to have happen. Like, you never want players to have to build decks without cards that make decks good, because they just can't access those cards, or they're there, right? They do exist here and there. Like, you see them out. Sometimes you'll see a Spoils of War go up, but having to buy, like, I don't know about you guys, but if you ever bought from TCG Play or something, because it's the only place you can find it, and you're like, I need 3 of this card, and you realize there's 3 stores that have it. You're like, oh God, I got to buy 3. I have to buy each of these cards from a different store, and then hope that all of them show up. And I have to keep an eye on all of them, because, like, you never know. And obviously, like, if they all go in one package and it gets lost, that sucks. But it's a lot less likely that like one package that's worth like $400 gets lost than a bunch of individual packages that start to, envelopes kind of slip through the crack. And so people want to buy from other people and things, or other people just go like, look, I bought a box to get into this game. I didn't realize I was going to have to shell out $400 for a card for my deck. Like, that's kind of rough. And you're already buying legendaries. The idea of like the fact that Spoils of War, some of these Crucible cards have hit like legendary prices as cards you shuffle into your deck is painful. Like that, it just hurts. Like it's hard. And if you're going to get out Monarch, my only concern is that getting out Monarch, then not having access to Crucible cards still hurts. So how fast can you get Crucible Unlimited to players, which has it actually been officially announced yet that we're getting it anytime soon? I know there's been like hints at the idea, or they've hinted at or insinuated that Crucible Unlimited is coming, but that doesn't mean it's like Monarch releases and then 3 weeks later, hey, Crucible Unlimited is out, so now people can start to get the cards. You just get this weird thing kind of going where it's tough. Like, a card accessibility is going to be a big thing, and you don't want Monarch to be unaccessible as a base set, as a core set.
Yeah. Jason, I mean, so basically you're saying is like with big things like, the Tolarian Community College, he's coming in, he's bringing 5,000 people into the game or something in the thousands. And I think he's just the tip of the iceberg. I mean, we've seen this back in Unlimited, where they held out so much clout and so much like hype news until release, and then they just pumped it all out, like the channel Fireball news and all that stuff. I think we're going to even see more of that. I think it's going to add thousands and thousands of more players. I mean, some people we're talking to is Tolarian Community College. He's affiliated with Card Kingdom, so maybe they're going to follow suit like soon, and they're going to start selling Fab. I mean, if Star City is selling Fab, I don't know who wouldn't sell Fab. I mean, they've been primarily Magic the Gathering card focused for the longest time, but I think that really what the game needs is a pauper format for people to play. I think that if they release that type of format during Monarch, it'll be huge, because card availability is going to be the biggest problem, and it's kind of disappointing, because I know you guys and we've seen this game grow over the months, and card availability has been an issue for a really long time, and it's like it's kind of sucky when you see people can't play with certain cards, and like you guys said, like you have to build decks that you normally wouldn't want to play. But I could see if there's a format that is only Pauper, where you can only play with
Mhm.
commons and rares, that would really get people into playing the game. And not only that, like you would feel like you're on the same level as other people you're playing against. Because I talked to this one guy and he said, when he's playing in his LGS, he just hates it because every week he doesn't have the legendaries. So if he loses against someone who has that, then it's really kind of disappointing because he's like, maybe I could have won if I had that like 2 extra health points from the legendary equipment. So I
Right.
mean, overall, I think LSS just really needs to have the Monarch Unlimited print run just absolutely absurd. Like it needs to be enough to handle the current market. And with all these different card shops jumping on board, it's going to be crazy to see how high the demand is for the stuff. And I don't know. We'll see how it all plays out. I mean, I know that they know what they're doing, but it's just
Yeah.
kind of weird how you're seeing this big tidal wave like head towards the beachfront, and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know if the people are sheltering enough. So, yeah, that's my take.
Yeah, I think the other thing that's tough is like to your point, if you had a Pauper format with some sort of maybe you do a different pricing structure, but you still have to do some sort of pricing.
Mhm.
But even if it's packs, like making a point to say packs or doing some sort of card, but like think about the fact, right? Like if you have the legendaries, if you have all the majestics, and your deck is just top notch, and you're a good player, there's that thing where it's like if we're both the same level of player, but I have the cards that make my deck better, I do have a slight edge. It's not a pay to win format where I auto win. If I'm a trash player, but I have like all the best cards, I can still lose to like a good player. Like I believe
Yep.
wholeheartedly I could run a top tier deck and Matt Rogers could run like a pauper deck, and I don't know that I could beat him. He probably would still outplay me because he's superhuman and he's like a human calculator. But like in general at locals, right? If you've got all of the good cards, the other disadvantage is if you were to win and you needed a legendary, if you won a cold foil, you might be able to just straight up trade that cold foil for your legendary that you need.
Mm.
So like it would actually like winning an event would actually leverage you to become allow you to build a better deck because you could use that cold to trade or sell and buy what you need. So to your point, Bronson, if you created some sort of format where people could play in that pauper style, maybe somebody who doesn't have a legendary would have an opportunity to win something that they could then turn into a card that now they could play pauper and they could build their deck for non-pauper format and
Yeah.
play like a standard. And it would be good if you like it, if you're going to have issues with availability, you have to come up with solutions. And I think to your point, an alternate solution to just pushing out product like crazy, because there's dangers in that too, right? Where you get too much and then it sits on shelves and then stores start to get hesitant to buy the next run. And
Yep.
I don't think Flesh and Blood is at that point yet, but we've seen games in the past that what ends up happening is too much product gets into stores because you end up with like then they have boxes and boxes sitting on their shelves that cost them a ton of money in just dead product. And that's a tough place to be too.
I
Yeah,
think
and I respect that, and that's why
yeah.
they don't want to overprint stuff because they're
Yeah.
worried that if they overprint stuff, they're going to be in the bargain bins
That's
of
like a totally
David
funny
Adams. Yeah, but what is it? I think how you do it too and roll it out to what you were saying, Blake. Just to get on that is you have a format that's pauper, and the prize winnings are like cards and expensive stuff, right? But then you have another format that is everything, and then that gives you more gem ID experience because the people who have really good decks, they probably want to get the experience anyway, so they're going to be in those
Yeah.
tournaments. And then the people who need the cards, like you're saying, they win a cold foil card. Well, then they can build whatever they want. So yeah,
Mhm.
just my take.
I can see that. I can see that as like a pretty simple solution. It's simple to implement. I don't know, but as far as cost to the company, probably not that bad, right? Like being able to just roll out and say, hey, like honestly, skirmishes kind of serve that purpose where it's just participation. Any Joe Schmo could win a cold foil adult hero and literally play any deck they want. You know what I mean? Just from buying into a skirmish. So that's cool.
Mhm.
I like that type of thing.
Mm.
But a whole format I think would be fun. Honestly, I might play pauper format just to test myself because I think to Blake's point, there's something to be said for your player skill. Like, can I win if I don't have the Mask of Momentum and the Fiendel Spring Tunic and like all of my majestic loadout? Like, am I still a good player? And I think that would be just as good of a test as not, you know. So yeah, I'd be interested in a format like that. Jason, you're going to say something though.
Yeah, it allows. I honestly, I think Pauper, some of the cards are fun for equipment that we don't use, like a lot of fun. Like Holt Merchant's Hood in sealed is super awesome when you draw a horrible hand and you just pop it and experience lines that are very precise because this equipment does this. So I need to block with it first. Then I'm going to use it and do like the other fun equipment is like, oh, I think I'm just going to pop Giant Gauntlet and my hands. So I'm just, yeah, it allows for a little bit more fun flexibility in cards that you don't see. So I do enjoy that part. My whole doom and gloom frustration, that's kind of why I brought this up, is because I play 3 games. Now 2. So Flesh and Blood is my main game, my favorite game. I play Force of Will because I play it with my son, which I've said a million times. I play Digimon for fun. The product release is so bad on that game, and tons of people were hyped. There's no cards. I have tons of cards. They're worth tons of money now. I'm selling them all. I'm done with that game. I'm trying Gate Ruler instead, just to throw some money at a different card game. And this is the segue into our next topic. For the first time ever, we're kind of doing a quasi market talk. Okay, not market as in Flesh and Blood market, expensive stuff. Market as in collectabilities in a whole. Due to this pandemic, and if anybody's watched Rudy, he's talked about this. And I think anybody with a little common sense realizes games are going to die and things are going to crack once we get out of this pandemic. Sustainable, fun games like this, I don't think have an issue at all because it's a very enjoyable game. But you have things like MetaZoo, a game, and I don't care who you are, you're full of shit if you think that's good art. You're just lying to yourself. You're lying to everybody around. You're alienating your own family if you say that's good art. Swear, I could crap in a toilet and I could put it on a card and it's going to look better than that. And that's, you know, I know art is subjective, but that's just, it's horrible. Okay. But those cards are going for like $150, $200, $300. You have a new game, Gate Ruler. I'm suddenly an investor, Bronson. I am an investor. I just bought 3 booster boxes. Don't even know if I'll play the game. I'm just buying it because you know what? If you print shiny stuff on cardboard, it's worth a lot of money. So I'm in.
Is it first ed?
Yeah, it's brand new game. Just coming to English. Drops April 30th. So just
I'll buy some tonight.
My son's got a Patrick Mahomes rookie card. $30 card a year ago is now worth $300, and he's got people messaging him to buy the damn card. I'm like, dude, sell it. That card's going to be back to $30 in 6 months.
So and the reason Jason brought, or at least the price of the MetaZoo, I looked up because there is a card in MetaZoo called Chupacabra. And for obvious reasons, Kupachara, I was going to buy it as a gag gift for Jason. And that card is $160. And that card looks like it was drawn by a 7th grader who had Mountain Dew for breakfast. I don't There's lots of things about this game that disinterest me. Primarily the art, because it's up front in your face. But I'm gonna read. So I just want to read one of the. This is a ruling. So we had some fun if you guys were watching our live stream. I was cutting in and out, but on page 14, the attacker always goes first if first strike is not around. So apparently, being around is a state that rules can be in, not impending. It's around. So if it's around,
it's just right. It makes sense.
Yeah.
If you want to trigger your first strike, yeah. If you want to trigger it, the trick is you keep an extra card and you just set it next to your mat because it's around. Like it's on the table, like it's around.
Yeah. So then I also sent Jason a picture because I was cutting out, but I want to read the quick start, how to play rules, because this is another huge pet peeve I have of games, and this just highlights it perfectly. Each player, caster, starts with a deck, spellbook, of at least 40 cards, pages. No maximum, but you must be able to shuffle your entire deck with 2 hands and within a 2-minute period. We're just going to set that aside because that's bullshit as well, but we're just going to move on for now to make my initial point. Each caster starts with 1,000 life points, or LP. And in order to win, you must reduce the LP of your opponent caster to 0. Start the game by building your hand. Chapter. by drawing, bookmarking 7 pages from the top of your spell book. That. All of that. Quit naming it. Quit being a special snowflake. God, don't do that. All right, sorry.
Yeah.
That is my soapbox. Also, the art looks like the guy who made this game. I'm sorry. He might be a fantastic guy who really took a lot of time to design this, but it looks like he had a panicked moment. He was like, he's a teacher, and he's like, oh, I was supposed to submit all my cards to the company for printing. Everyone, quick, take one of these names out of the hat and draw it. And he teaches like 5th grade. Like, that's what happened. That is how those cards are made. I'm convinced.
I think what happened with MetaZoo is it was like some buddies were making it and they were like, oh, let's make the chupacabra. Like, that's going to be funny. And then one of them drew a really funny picture on like a napkin while they were sitting at a restaurant. And he's like, isn't this hilarious? And the guy's like, yeah, just take a picture of it and we'll put it on there digitally as like a placeholder. And then, you know, Tom is in charge of like submitting the design. And they're like, all right, so we just need to swap out all the art and submit the design. And Tom went, wait, I already sent it.
We've already printed.
Send it yet?
We've already printed
Like they
40,000
said,
boxes.
it's already printing. We're not good now. So I think that's what happened. I think like they did a bunch of funny placeholder art, and then one guy just royally screwed up his job, which was like to hit submit. He hit submit too early before the rest of the guys got to go in and put in the actual art. But to be fair, like the card in general, the layout and the design of the card is terrible. So it's not like it's just the art. That's the problem. It's just like,
have you seen these cards yet, Bronson?
Yeah, no, and you know what I want to say is I tried my hardest to look at it objectively. I like the first thoughts when I saw it, I thought the same thing, and I still kind of think the same thing. I don't like the art, and I maybe other people do. I don't know. I just don't understand it, and it's like I hear other people talk about it with such high hopes and such like great things that I'm kind of questioning myself. I'm like, did I miss something? Like, is this actually good? And maybe I'm the weirdo, but it's just the more I look at it, it doesn't appeal to me. Now I'll tell you this, man. I don't like the art. I think the mechanics are very weird. I looked at the gameplay videos, which there's like none currently on YouTube. It's very hard to see.
Capture
It
that
looks
market,
very
Bronson.
wonky. Yeah, what?
Capture that market.
Yeah, maybe I should do it. I'm gonna switch to MetaZoo gameplay videos. But I mean, all in all, I bought a couple of booster boxes because it says first edition, and they said they only printed 25,000. And the one thing I'll say is, it seems like the community is good, and it seems like this thing's a Pokemon clone, and it seems like a lot of kids are picking it up. But I don't know. I heard some people saying that it got like a little bit like gory and stuff. I think it was with that Chupacabra card where there's blood, and I was just like, this is not gory. This is kid. I don't know. I just don't understand it.
It could have been bloody. Could have been bloody. Just didn't. I couldn't tell what was like blood, what was like a smudge from the drawing of the artist, what was I couldn't tell. But to Jason's point though, like first edition, right? Like buy it up. Worst case scenario, you'll flip it. Like, it's crazy what they're going for, just like as initial boxes. Could you imagine like this game coming out even just 2 years ago? Yeah. Nothing. I would be surprised if there was half as much interest as there is now.
Yep.
There wouldn't have been. 2019, this game falls on its foot, doesn't even get out of Kickstarter with 1,000 people. So I looked up Gate Ruler, and so I watched a play. There's this guy that does play like gameplay videos, and he plays himself on like TTS. Awesome voice, and he comes in for a strike. He's like, I just love his excitement, like as he's going through it. And I'm like, this game actually, I enjoyed the gameplay. The art was pretty cool. I'm like, this is actually a good game. This is like a good, at the least, a good kitchen table game with good Japanese style anime art. Similar to like Digimon had some cool art, and DBS has some awesome art. And that alone, I'm like, I'm going to buy 3 booster boxes. I'm going to buy 2 starters. The starters, I'm both going to open and play. The 3 booster boxes, I might open 1 box and make a box video, opening video, because people eat that shit up. And then after that, I don't know, maybe I'll just keep them I'll keep a Bronson stack somewhere hidden away, and I'll probably keep my wrappers for the gate ruler just in case
Just in case.
something happens with those wrappers. Because
I
know
mean,
you
look
like the
what
wrap.
happened to Fab. I mean, like the Welcome to Wrath boxes are like $3,000. It's nuts. And I mean, I guess you can't compare anything to that because Fab has a lot of things going for it. But even a booster box from a first edition set, it like there's no cards ever printed, so most likely people are just going to open the box, and the person running the business, they just don't have enough capital to make a huge print run. It's just when you buy a box for $100, I mean, there's not too much place other than up, unless it's like a Justin Bieber, pop random like trading card thing that's never going to go anywhere. I don't know.
Yeah.
Did that come
So-
out? You got a link? Did that come out?
Yeah.
Do you have a link?
So one thing
I'll
I
start a
wanna
Kickstarter.
I do want to point out that I think I had seen the MetaZoo Kickstarter raised like $18,000, a little over, right? So if that's the case, this dude's about to
18,000. That's
yeah. So
That's
that dude's
nothing.
about to kill it on the flip. Like he's like, I'm putting $18,000 into this art, into the layout, into the boxes and packaging, and I'm gonna see what I can make. And people are
No.
buying that up. First edition. That's gonna be great.
You know what he did? Hold on.
Blake's thinking the same thing I am.
print-
Not much of that.
No.
18,000
He
went in the
put
art.
he put $18,000 into printing boxes and everything. Like there's $17,000 worth of boxes that got printed, and there's $1,000 in development and art. Like the entire game was designed and developed for $1,000. 17 grand in boxes. He's just gonna flip them all.
Bronson, you were supposed to like take the opposite view and like the game so that we all didn't look like asses. Now you just join the group of assholes here, the outcasts. Now you're an
Like I
outcast.
told you, man, I
we're gonna
want to like the
offend.
game.
Yeah.
I've heard so many good things about it, and I
That-
keep looking at it more. It's just there's just too many red flags. Like another thing, man, is on their website, right? I checked out their website. I was looking for the lore, couldn't find the lore, but then they have this one page called the Bazaar, where they're doing a secondary market on their website and doing like bids for the highest price. And I thought that was very strange. Like, why would you have like isn't your website for your trading card game, not to auction off your trading cards and provide that service? It's more like they geared it
Yeah, I don't
towards
like that.
being this ultra collectible and for this to happen in the first place. So it's really tough. I don't know. I mean, I
put
hope
some
the game
effort.
succeeds because I'm buying into it. So I don't know about you guys.
That's a great point though. So that is what basically is what all I want this to come around to. What happens now if somebody just does a 10,000 box print run of a game? Let's say they actually take their time and make it good art, looks amazing, but the mechanics suck. The mechanics are horrible, but the cards look amazing. Is that do you just buy a couple booster boxes of everything now until COVID is gone and people are back going to the bars, going on vacation? I'm just saying the money's going to be going somewhere else. So where do you guys think this stops? I think Fab's in a good spot because of the amazing gameplay, amazing art. So we're not even going to talk about Fab.
Mhm.
But these other games, your Digimons, you have Weiss Schwartz is being talked about. Force of Will was talked about by Rudy. You have MetaZoo now, Gate Ruler coming out. Tons. MHA is trying to ruin everything and still try to release a game. So where do you guys think this ends and how does it end?
I think once COVID's over, I think we go back to a more. I think that you're going to have I think it won't pop completely. Like first off, I don't think that it's going to pop completely. I think some people legitimately got into some of these games and started buying as collectors, and then because you need to be aware of the community and aware of the cards and aware of the game, I think people, like we've seen it in the Dragon Ball community where people have made comments on the community post like, hey, I've been a collector for a while. The game seems really fun. Like I've watched some videos and I really want to play. What would be a fun deck to play? So you're getting people via the collector route to stick into a game. And I think that the games that will have the most success post-COVID are going to be the games that either got a massive footing during COVID that people scooped up that are good games. First off, right? Like Fab, the reason that Fab can succeed is because they've made the game very collectible while also making it unbelievably playable. Like it is has the most fine-tuned mechanics. It's very clean, but again, that comes from the fact that they've made it very clear that it was in development for so long compared to most games. I think the other games that will succeed in the long run are typically games that have very identifiable IPs, because the IP does a lot for a game. One of the things that I think Fab does to kind of offset the fact that they're not an IP per se is they have created a very deep lore. So players who enjoy the game, people like myself and Dane, really enjoy lore and really enjoy like the IP. Like IP is really important for me. And Fab is the first time I think I've ever like jumped into a game and invested myself into it where there wasn't like a significant IP that I was kind of like involved and entrenched in beforehand. Typically like a game attracts me because like I like the IP. So the reason that Fab got me though is because the lore is so good and so well written and so well constructed. But that's something that again is a product of the love and care that they have invested in the game from the very beginning. Is that all of this stuff is not like a retroactive thing. Like they didn't go back and be like, oh no, people like Dorinthia, let's give her a backstory. They were like, okay, before you even like Dorinthia, here. Yeah. They shouldn't have given her Route. I need the backstory on Route. Where does it come from? Tell me about Route. I need answers.
Dude, it's so good. Come on.
Too many horror stories.
Facebook.
But yeah,
No,
like,
I'm bouncing my head off the mic because Jason just poking. Every time I open Facebook, it's just Jason's got a new. No, it's fine.
But what was the question again?
Yeah, Bronson, you hit us with your take. Jason, repeat yourself.
Just about in collectibles.
Oh, when does it stop?
Where does it stop? Where do you foresee this going? This craziness?
I think you need an Enron. You really need an Enron of TCGs, honestly. I mean, you need some type of company to come along that says, hey, we're very collectible. We only have, 20,000 print run, 10,000 print run of this. And then you find out that they're lying the whole time, or, they're only trying to go for that. And it kind of shows. And then people get scared. I think people need to get really scared. And, another topic too, a lot of people don't want to, I don't think people have seen this really, but even though the pandemic is really good for Fab, it's kind of bad too, because it's good because it puts more money into the game, but all games are succeeding now. But I think once the collectible market goes down and not too much demand is out there, we're really going to see a big drive for stores to wanting Flesh and Blood because of the amount of money that you make on each booster box. I think they have 50% earnings on each box, which is huge. And I think that's going to really drive a lot of the more success for Flesh and Blood, because store owners are going to be like, whoa, I'm making 50% revenue on this box and I'm only making 20% revenue on these boxes. Like, of course we want this more. And James White even said that a lot in his Learn, Grow, Succeed speech. Yeah, where he's talking about you have to look at your percentage of revenue on your products. But yeah, no, I think it ends when this era ends. I mean, we're in an era where people just want to jump on the next big bandwagon, no matter what it is, without doing little research. And I'm the same way. Honestly, if it says first edition, you got my ears pierced, or you got my, ears, open, and I'll buy 2 boxes. What's $200? I mean, 80% of the time, 90% of the time, that box is going to at least double. So, I mean, if you buy 2 booster boxes of all the first editions you see, I mean, chances are it's going to do good in the long run. I don't know.
Yeah. I will say that the thought that's crossed my mind repeatedly has been the rubber band effect that's going to take place once restrictions lift. Especially for us, for me, my thought is because the United States, when restrictions lift and we can start to get into stores and the printers are back at running full capacity, and all of these stores all of a sudden get the fulfillment that they've been begging for at the exact same time as everyone's able to go out and go on vacations again. You know what I mean? It's going to be this huge, passing each other in the hallway. Hey, there goes all the boxes that we ordered. And here we go off not buying boxes and living our lives again. I feel like it's going to be.
So
I hope that they're aware. I would be extremely shocked if they hadn't put thought into that. But I think that taking place, restrictions being lifted, is going to probably hurt LSS, not LSS, local game shops, LGS is like more than they're maybe anticipating. I don't know. That's my fear. That's my thought.
Yeah. So I guess here would be the thought, and I'm curious if maybe this kind of brings us full circle back to the very beginning of this episode, is maybe that's the logic behind Fab like going out and getting things like Channel Fireball and the Professor to get into this game, is the idea that they can go, okay, while we might lose a small portion of sales because some people who have been really into it in the pandemic while they're stuck at home, when they start to get availability to kind of go do things again, maybe they're not as interested, but maybe we can pick up a bunch of casual players once stores open back up, and we can kind of take hold
Fill that
of
gap.
fill that gap with a bunch of casual players. Maybe some of these players who were just pounding money into the game, maybe that they lighten a little bit and you can fill that void with a bunch of more casual players, because that's the thing, is like the thing about Magic, I think that is very different from a lot of other games, is that a lot of games are very like competitive centric. Like the competitive part of the game drives 80% of the business. Like a lot of card games like Dragon Ball are very competitive centric, and there's not a lot of people who just like sit around and casually play that game with their buddies. They don't have a thing called Friday Night Magic where you just kind of go hang out and play games. They don't have a casual format. It's basically balls to the wall all the time, constantly being competitive, constantly rotating metas and stuff like that. Fab has the feel of a game that could have a very kitchen table centric portion of the community. It has the feel of a game that if you could build a pauper format and it could be fun, because like when we all play sealed, I've said it before, I hate sealed formats. Hate them. Like new sets come out for 90% of games I've ever played, or literally every game I've ever played before. New set cocomes out, everybody goes to pre-release. Not me. I'm not interested. I have zero interest in going and playing decks. It's just not fun to me. Fab is so different. I love Fab Sealed. I like it. Like I legitimately enjoy playing Fab Sealed because the game is still the game. You don't lose the game in Sealed. A lot of games, like you lose the game in Sealed because decks need to be like very finely tuned machines. So like Fab has the potential where like getting in the Professor and like Channel Fireball might get a lot of casual players. Hopefully, maybe they develop some sort of pauper format or a format that can be a little more casual friendly, and that fills the void. Like that's the gap, right? Because those players aren't going to buy a case, but if they go to a store to play a casual pauper night, I'll pick up a few, I'll pick up a few packs. Like I'm already here. Like I'll buy a couple packs and just see if I can hit anything good.
Super good point. I like that a lot, actually. That I could 100% get on board with believing that was the thought process behind that, because that makes total sense. Because my fear with that whole rubber band thought was that the stores are going to have this product now that they've been begging for, and they're going to have it, and they're not going to sell it like they thought they would, and they're not going to invest as much going around. So getting all those casual players in, yeah, I like that a lot. It gives me a warm fuzzy. Bronson.
And you know what's another great point too is a lot of people I've talked to in the past said, "Oh, you can't do Pauper in Flesh and Blood. There's not enough card pool." And I've respected that opinion, but guys, like the hero decks from Welcome to Wrath, they were Pauper. They only had 6 rares each. Those were Pauper decks, and those were classic constructed decks. And then these Blitz decks from Monarch. I mean, what is it? We're 99% sure those are going to be Pauper decks too. So I mean, you're going to sell a lot of these people decks that are already packaged to be Pauper. Why don't you just make a format around Pauper, and then someone who buys a deck is on the same playing field as everyone else? And honestly, Blake, yeah, you're right, man. Like the power creep in Flesh and Blood with Sealed is perfect because you don't need some crazy combo to make things all work. It's those little victories along the way, and when everything is balanced, it's good. And I've never played a tournament in my life until Fab, and I just love the gameplay so much. I was like, man, I just want to play, competitive, and it's really chill for the most part, but it would just be nice if there's some other type of medium for Flesh and Blood. To you guys' point is like you bring the casual players into the game. That's what's gonna really make it grow. But.
Yeah, it's weird because there's no precedent set for companies to forecast third, fourth quarter of 2021, and especially first quarter of 2022. So I don't know what they think. I personally, I run a small irrigation company on the side, and we're already swamped with estimates and bids. and I don't know what that's related to. Is it just the natural growth of our company? Is the fact that we've gave out another $1,400 checks to everybody in a family, and now they want greener grass? Is it because companies are pulling out of commercial real estate because they found productivity levels of people working at home are as good, if not better, than previous to this happening? So there's a lot of variables, and I just put out my gloom and doom, and I like to be very extreme because going down the middle sucks and is for pussies. So I like to be extreme all over the place, and just I'm very curious to see what happens because I have no idea. You see all these people and creators saying this, saying that, do this. This is going to go good. You don't freaking know. Stop pretending. All right. Jeez.
Yeah, stop being extreme
Nobody
and picking a
knows.
side. Jason hates that.
Yeah, but at least I am upfront and
Wait.
don't play along like, oh, that's gonna happen. Listen to no, I know
No,
that.
you're just upfront like, that's not gonna happen. Listen to me.
I just
Is
I
playing aside good or bad? I'm so
err on the
confused.
side of caution, and it scares me growing too big.
Well-
That's my main point. Is big growth is hard growth.
Jason, I think all your bids went up and skyrocketed like that because you're so damn handsome. That's what I think.
That could be too. That could be too. I will say, speaking of handsome and stuff, Bronson, the way you stare intently into that camera, I keep looking up. I'm like, he's looking deep into my eyes right now, isn't
Yeah.
he?
He's looking
like
right
in
at you, Jason. No one
Yeah,
else.
it's into my
Right
soul.
at you.
So all the viewers that are watching this and not listening, they're like, whoa, Bronson,
Is it?
What's
Looking
going
right
on?
at you,
Hey,
viewer.
is it getting
No,
hot?
I've
Is it
trained
hot in here?
myself, man. Because you're right here on my screen, but I don't want to
Yeah.
be like looking down like all the whole video.
Have
But-
you ever seen me stop moving in anything? I just am all over, and I think people are used to it by now. It's just
Yeah.
that's the way I am.
And I'm constantly like perusing like websites and stuff as we're going. I'm listening. It's fine. But I'm like on my laptop, like looking all over at my other monitor and stuff. I got to get better about that. But
I'm
Well,
trained.
you are
Bronson,
trained.
Bronson
Very good.
making us better, dude. I love the collaboration. This is what it's about.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Getting together. I appreciate you guys having me on, man. Like this is cool.
Oh, we're not done.
yeah, we're not.
Oh,
You're not-
don't act like you're leaving.
I'm going as long as you guys want. I've made 4-hour collab videos
we didn't
before.
tell you this is the 24-hour marathon podcast.
Let's do it.
We didn't let you know that.
I'm down.
So next this weekend, pretty exciting, Bronson. Don't know if you signed up yet, but our local store that's here in the cities, the Source is doing their skirmish. So it's this Saturday at 1 p.m. Central. So if you're watching this or listening to it on the day it comes out, it's tomorrow, 1 p.m. Central. Pretty pumped to have it and do the local tournament and see how many people we can get into our local Twin Cities Discord and see who sticks around. But yeah, pretty pumped for that. Me and Blake were jamming some games this evening. Cov Dane does not like Brute at all. At all. Kano and Brute is probably one of the funnest matchups I think we ever do because
It's just
probably
wild.
do 30 games in 30 minutes because somebody's
That's
just going
funny.
to lose really, really fast.
Yep.
And we just have a blast. And every time we've played that game, I don't think we've made it much past turn 3.
No,
So-
no. Usually one of us gets a turn 2 and the other one doesn't.
So are you signed up, Bronson? Are you going to join us at 1 p.m. Central for a little skirmish action?
I didn't know about this event. If
Oh
you hit
my
me up with the details, if they're still open, I know I'm in one skirmish event over the weekend. Maybe it's that one.
Sunday?
what I
Are you
signed up
playing
for.
Sunday?
I forget. I'll have to look. But
Gift
yeah,
of-
if you hit me
gift
up
of
with the
games?
details, I'd be very interested in joining that, man. I'm doing like last weekend I did 2 skirmish events. I'm trying to grind it out, and I mean it's great when it's participation based. All you have to do is show up, and you're in the running for those
Mhm.
cards. And I want to get one of those play mats. Those look really dope. But
Yeah. When are they going to come out? Wait, that's a request. Have you guys seen anything? Are they coming out with a next round of prizes for skirmish?
I haven't seen anything.
I've been checking. It's
Haven't
like it's
seen it.
still like week 3 from like 2 weeks ago or whatever.
Did you guys get any of the first round prizes yet?
We hadn't played in
0.
any skirmishes
Oh,
at that
okay.
point.
We didn't, at
Before?
that point.
Yeah. I saw
Did-
some of my friends get some, and I was like, "Oh man, I got to do more of these." The cold foil cards look really cool.
Yeah.
Are you still playing Bravo then? Is that
Yep,
your, is that
still
your boy?
praying. Yep.
That's my boy
Playing
Blue.
Bravo.
All right. Yeah, I'm either going Cov Dane or Bravo for Sources skirmish. I kind of want to do Cov Dane just because it's actually really fun. But Brute is really he does not want to beat Brute. That matchup's really, really bad. Other than that, I think it's a fun deck. What are you bringing? Are you going Benji again, Dane? Is that your boy?
Benji for a full day of skirmishes Sunday.
Benji's tough, man. I don't know how to play against that. Like
Benji, dude.
I played against you, Dane, and in the last skirmish, and I don't know how to play. Like, do you just go ham on Benji? I mean,
Bravo is tough. Honestly, Bravo has a tough time into Benji.
You have to fatigue it. You have to save your equipment. When you do swing, they have to be absolutely huge, and then just constantly arsenal your stuff to block.
yeah.
And sometimes you'll block Kodachi swings with full card just because you can't be taking those 1 damages here and there. It's the one matchup where you have to use those.
I have no idea.
Blake is going to be running Reinar.
Yeah, I'm going Claws Brood on Saturday. I'm just going to do it.
Very solid. I think you have the deck tuned to go amazing in that. Just from what I've seen, the deck's good. And the deck can output some huge damage turn 1 and turn 2. Because either you're going to get your Bellows or your Blood Rush, or your Barraging Beatdown. So super excited to see how that goes. And who can bring the best deck? If you go, Bronson, you tell me you're going and you're bringing Bravo, then I for sure 100% on Cov Dane and Bravo's out. That's all I need. I need the commitment right now. Can you give me a commitment?
I don't know what I'm gonna do tomorrow. Or I'm not sure. No commitment. I'll give you a 80% chance. I mean,
heard it.
Chance that I'm already in the event.
You heard it here first, everybody. Bronson, not good at commitment. So make sure everyone hears. Everyone finds out.
Bronson, you're single, aren't you?
No, I'm getting what is it? I'm engaged right now.
Oh, what is it? What's that thing called that you do?
It's funny because you bring up relationships, and I wanted to bring this up, which is a cool feature of our current times. Is I feel like I know Bronson pretty well. You know what I mean? Like we've talked, we've played off screen. I've talked and played with a bunch of other people. Never met pretty much anybody in the Fab community, yet it feels like you know them very well just from all our interactions, which is crazy.
Yeah.
I think that's what the day and age we're in. It's kind of a cool thing to have, to be like, oh, I know this person. Where do they live? Oh, New Zealand. Oh, you don't know anybody that lives in New Zealand? Like, it's so weird to have that right now. It's just crazy.
Yeah. It's always funny when I reference my buddies in Australia.
Did you study abroad in college? Nope, I'm really into card games. Oh, okay.
But it's amazing. I know you people.
We fought in World War II together. You know, they were on the battlefield with me back 50 years ago now. Oh yeah, we played trading card games.
But it's a very brutal trading card game. Like, have you seen the art on Mango? Like, it's gruesome.
Oh God. Such a soft generation.
That's about all I got for you guys tonight. That I think you did well with me just bringing you some stuff and getting some good opinions tonight. And I this is one of the episodes I like to do. I want to look back on in December of this year and be like, what we said, what was it like, and how is it now? You know what I mean? Because we look back at where we were at our first episode, and we're like, it's crazy. A Heart of Fendel is $400. Oh my God. Why didn't we all three buy the damn card back then?
Dude, Mark, I have woken up sweating just dreaming about Mark selling his eye for, what was it, 500?
Yeah.
Cold foil eye when he sold it for 500, back before anyone knew anything about Alpha or anything like that. He just sold it and got more boxes. Just oh, Mark, my heart. I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
you could have bought a car with that thing, man.
You could have. You could afford anything that your new baby wants.
I don't know if you know this, Blake. I don't know if you remember this, man, but I remember watching you guys in one of these episodes, right? Where you said, once Unlimited comes out, I don't care about card prices. I've never been into that. If you give me, I'll give you a card list of what I have. If you give me those on Unlimited, plus $100. I will do that trade.
I
That's
remember saying that, and then it's funny
Do
because
people
like
reach out to you for that?
no, nobody ever
Oh.
reached out to me about it, and like I still have like a brick, like one of those. But two of them. I have like 2 BCW white box bricks of like alpha cards that are just plus. I have my binder that has play sets of every card,
Mhm.
and it's just all it's in my other room because it's with all my other cards that I keep bulk of, and
You want to
it's
know?
funny because now, yeah, I no, I was just saying now it's funny because I like you look back and you do like I mean I definitely did like Mark too. Like looking back, I definitely regret some of the cold foils I sold because
Let's not talk about that.
we all sold cold foils for like a couple $100, and it was just like, oh god.
Sold- I
have all mine still.
first Enlightened Strike for $200. So that's all I got to say about that matter. That's like a $5,000 card now.
Wow.
Um,
How would we have known? That's the thing. It's
yeah,
like
you couldn't
yeah.
have. You can't
it
beat
doesn't
yourself
make
up about it.
sense. Yeah, and I was on the same boat, man. When Heart of Fando was $500, I was like, I don't know, this seems pretty pricey, and it's like
Right.
it's just insane how and that was only 6 months ago. I mean,
Mhm.
Yeah.
it's just wild.
It was, and I will say, like, I bought an unlimited eye and I paid $500 for it. Okay. Because I had to have it for Kano. But back then, when we were talking about cold foils, I'm like, that seems good. We didn't know the game very good. We didn't know that how good that card could be in the game. Crucible wasn't out. There was no gameplay anywhere. We were asking for some kind of webcam tournament, getting berated on the internet, Bronson. I mean, never could a
Oh,
webcam
yeah.
tournament succeed in this game.
Just be patient.
Ever.
You'll get in
Yeah,
person
just be
play soon
patient,
enough.
Jason. You'll be playing in person. I mean, skirmish seems like it's doing okay, but so there was no reason to buy a $500 card back then for me. Like now, I bought it once we started doing locals because now it was worth it, and it got me like 3 or 4 cold foils because that Eye of Ophidia has done work in my Kano deck, and I have won tournaments or done second place in tournaments a lot because of that card. So
Lots
it's
of
gotta-
second. Lots of second place.
Hey, but guess what? Still got
Stupid Justin.
Well,
So-
the op 2 is a little ridiculous. I think it,
justify it back then. There was no justification. Now there is.
Yeah. like why does it opt 2? The heart is gain 1. The what is it? The other one is put 1 rune chant down. But
Mhm.
then I is opt 2.
I'll tell you
I
why.
mean, it's powerful.
I'll tell you why. Opt 2 in Viscerai works amazing. Opt 2 in Dash works amazing. Opt 2 in Kano works amazing. Opt 2 in Azalea, if she was a good deck, would work amazing.
See,
It
God, could you
it all-
imagine?
perfectly with all the decks. I mean, that's where it shows you the design is that one card is feasible in every single one of those decks for what
Until
it
you
does.
boost and you boost away your eye and you're like,
Well,
you're like, God, no, go again. Don't.
but that's where like a controlled dash deck can go, oh, I will pitch this, look at the two and be like, you know what? I will boost this as well. A not normal boost deck, it turns into that 1 or 2
Mhm.
boost as you recycle your deck. You can do it now, which can make a difference. So that's why the design is amazing. It's way better than Heart. Heart's still good,
Yeah.
but Eye is amazing in all the decks if it's used correctly.
I will say, to Blake's point, I'm not really about the like max rarity life. I'm about that shine life though. Like I will collect foils for days. Like these are all my alpha cards that I've taken out. So these are all like all of these are cards that have been replaced with the foil unlimited card in my binder because it's foil. It's shiny. And these are just
mean-
commons and rares.
I would do that, except like my Dorinthia deck is like legitimately a pristine alpha deck.
Yep.
Every card in the deck is alpha in
Yep.
first edition. So the deck itself,
I crack a foil, gone alpha. You're going in a sleeve in another box. Give me the shine. I want that shine in my deck.
that's my deck. That's just like the flex deck. I'm just like, yeah, it's all alpha. It's whatever.
I'm looking at Kano right now.
And rainbow foil looks better than cold foil, in my opinion. I mean, I just like how
Mhm.
it shines.
Most of them do. Yeah, I think
like
I
the
think
way
the
the
rainbow
cold-
foils. Yeah.
I like the way the cold foil smells though. It smells a lot like money. So I'm all about that.
You ever tasted them though? If you like lick them, It tastes good, but then it like immediately tastes bad when you realize what you've done. You're like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, oh no.
Ink
So I have-
bleeds.
I have two
Oh.
non-alpha cards in my Kano deck, and I have the actual. So I'm just going to pull
Burn 'em.
those in
Burn
because
'em.
I can't let Blake show up at tournament and be like, "Oh, mine's all alpha." I'm like, God damn it! I have one in here, son of a bitch.
I
So,
think
card.
I don't have an all alpha deck, but I'm just gonna put down my equipment with my cold foil mask and my crunic and my cold foil everything else.
I mean, the issue
equipment.
now is like I remember we bought our crunics for like $85
because they were the
and now
cheap
I'm like
version.
that.
Oh my god, that was so like we were just like, oh, I guess like I mean it seems like a decent deal. And then I looked at them the other day. I
Why
was
are
just
they
curious what they're like $1,000.
No.
Oh my gosh.
For
I
the
remember that
non-foil.
time period. You were like, oh, we're throwing down it. Didn't you get like 3 crunics,
So
one for each
what,
of
I
you?
don't even.
Yeah.
Like-
I don't even double sleeve this. This isn't even double sleeved.
It's not
It's like
foil.
a big buy.
Not foil. Not worth
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
This is $1,000.
Our buddy
Wow.
shout out to our buddy Lee, our Aussie buddy Lee. He hooked us up with a deal.
Dude, this isn't even. Why doesn't anybody tell me this stuff? I thought this was just still $100 card. To be honest with you, I wouldn't think.
I'll
this would
buy it
go
from
up.
you. Damn it.
I'll
Missed
give you $100
opportunity.
for it. Right now. PayPal.
Not even.
Got it. I got it on my phone.
Why is it worth anything?
It's
Because
first edition.
it's first edition Crucible, and it's the only non-foil tunic that is in print, right?
Right. It's the so what you just said is it's the ugliest tunic in print. Is what you just
Yeah.
rare.
It's like the
But
it's
it's
like
the
the
first edition.
I
of
would
it's like the
much
non-
effing
rather-
it's like the effing chupacabra.
I'll give you this. You give me your unlimited tunic and $800, and we're done.
Careful. You're going to look back on this video in December and be like, what did I do?
This is a
Look,
$20,000 card now.
This is going to endless cycle.
Nothing's been better for me than people not reaching out to me and asking to give me $100 and take my alpha cards. Like the best deal I've ever made is not getting reached out to.
Yeah, I looked at the mask. What mask is like posted at right now? I think most recent selling, like the cold foil mask. I looked like a month ago, and it was like 2,400, 2,500, and I was like, all right, if this ever breaks into like the 10K range, I'm gonna have to look at selling because at that point, why keep it? Like I can, like there's so much I can do with 10,000. I just looked, and people are posting it up for like 11,000, 12,000. I don't know what the last sold was. I think it was closer to 6, but it's just like. If this sells, I have to get rid of my mask, man. That makes me really sad, but I have to.
Here's
Bronson.
yeah.
I'm going to ask
Yeah.
you a question. So here's my 3 things that we're on this. Let's all just say your 3 things that you would or wouldn't sell. And I want to hear comments. Anybody still listening? I want comments of what your price would be. I have 3 things that I'm trying to figure out what price I sell it. Arcane Rising first edition booster box sealed, which just recently moved into my safe because I'm like, it hit the point now. Probably should be in there. Cold foil Storm Striders, cold foil Tectonic Plating. Those are my 3 big items, right? I'm thinking 7,500 for Arcane Rising. So my numbers rose every time. At first it was $2,000. It's gone past that. I'm like, oh, $5,000 now. Now it's dangerously close to there. So I think I'm with you, Dane. $10,000 on the cold foils because I don't know. You sell them for 5, they're getting 10 in 5 years. You're like, I should have probably kept it. So
I know. Now though, the issue is
wouldn't you do it?
yeah, the issue is that now that it's like around that $10,000, I'm really thinking like, God, I don't think I would sell it for $10,000. I don't think I would.
So
That's a problem. You need a point.
Yeah.
Give me a point.
Yeah. Okay.
this might-
All
To
right.
me, it keeps going
Yeah.
up, right? After a
Yeah.
couple months, you're like, oh no, I actually deserve more. And then it's just a never-ending cycle where you're like, okay, I'll sell it at 500. It hits 500. Sell it for 1,000. Hits 1,000. Oh, I'll sell it for $2,000. It goes up to that, and it's like you never know when to cash out. And
Yeah.
no,
Yeah,
I'm in
well,
that position now. I
so-
mean, I have a couple Crucible boxes, and at first I was like, oh, they're 500 now. I'm gonna wait until 1,000, then I'm sell it. And then Rudy makes like 3 videos, and I'm like, oh man, well maybe this is even worth more. Now I want to sell it for 2,000. Maybe I'll feel like I want to sell it for 4,000. It's a never-ending thing. It sucks.
So this is where I like deviate a little bit from like the standard, like what's my price point, and I'll go with that. I'm not strapped for cash. In the last like month, I've made almost 7,000 just on my TCG player selling random things because everyone's buying stuff up. I'm paying for my hobby itself. I've got money that's paying for other stuff too. Like, I'm not strapped. I like my mask. I like it a lot. I think it's really cool to say that I've got an alpha cold foil Mask of Momentum, which is the class that I love. Like, I think it would take a lot for me to sell it, like a ridiculous amount for me to sell that card. So I don't know that I have that.
Yeah, here's my only thing about cards when they hit a certain price point is you start to get to a point where they start to have to be more and more protected, and you have to be more and more concerned about taking them into public, because the reality is this, right? Like, I trust the communities that I play with. Like, when we go play, like, everybody seems like good people. Here's the problem. I don't know everybody in that room. So my deck box has to stay with me at absolutely all times. And I can't just leave it open sitting on the table with a deck box that literally is labeled on the deck box what's inside of it, because somebody just like snatches something like, oh, I'll just take this cold foil with me. Oh, I'll just take this with me. And then all of a sudden you look over and it's gone and you're like, oh, hey, where's this guy? You're like, well, I don't know where he is, but he's about $5,000 richer now, and I'm $5,000 poorer, and that's real sad to me.
Yeah.
And I think that becomes the issue, is that there's a certain point where, like, a box, right, is fine. You keep a box forever because it's not like you're taking your unopened Crucible or Arcane boxes to the store to have to play games. Some people might, like, if anything, I think what I want to see, and maybe this is the real challenge for somebody, get one of those acrylic boxes, but make it into like a Flavor Flav style chain. And just like walk around at the first like nationals in America with like an alpha Welcome to Wraith box hanging from a chain, and just like playing your deck, because like that would be like such a flex. But I just like when I see people on webcam pull them out, I'm like, oh cool, you have like cold foil equipment. But then I start to think about the fact that it's like, even at locals it might be cool because maybe you know the other 8 or 10 people and they're all good dudes or all good people that you're like, yeah, they're fine. But here's the issue, like, are you going to take a Mask of Momentum or a Storm Striders that's cold foil alpha worth $10,000 to the calling? If it's somewhere that you have to fly on a plane and somewhere that you have to wander around a room with hundreds of other people that you don't know,
it's going to be in my pants until the moment I put it on the table.
Every person in that room knows it's worth it, and you damn well better be fast too, because you know what, somebody might just take advantage and be like, I mean, he's sitting down, snatch, run, like
he went to the bathroom, get it.
It's literally $10,000. Like, you're gonna stick a block of $10,000, like $100 bills, just like you're gonna plop it on a table next to you in a room full of people who know what it is.
But Blake,
I'm 100% gonna buy unlimited Storm Striders and Tectonic Plating if the prices keep going where they are.
Yeah,
because they're still in these, and I bring them with, and I do leave one in my bag at the stores, and now I'm thinking I can't do that anymore because, like you said, that's when an honest person becomes dishonest, when you're talking about that much money and that easy of a grab. So, and we don't like to think like that because our community is very good, but it's that whole, you shut your window even if your door is unlocked because it keeps the honest people honest. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what we want to do. You don't want to turn somebody that's not bad and make them double think life because something bad happened and there's a $10,000 card that I could probably just grab and walk away with and nobody would know.
Yeah, it's all
I agree.
Agreed.
That's fair.
Yeah, and I don't want to say the person is asking for it, but I mean, the alpha rainbow foil cards, I mean, those are like, creeping up in price to $50 a piece. And if you have a whole deck with it, and you might have, all these different cards that you don't know that are expensive because you bought them for like $20 each, but it's just not worth it, man. And man, if I go into a sealed event with a Monarch, right, and I open my booster packs and I get a Fable, I'm going to be very tempted to just walk out of the store and say, hey guys, be back in an hour, drive back to my house, put my Fable card in my house, and then drive back. Okay, first 2 games I'll pass. It's just not worth it. Like, then you have literally $1,000 card or however much that is at release. It's like, is it really worth you getting like in a situation where you're gonna get something stolen? I don't know.
But I wrote excess sleeves on my box, so people will think it's excess sleeves, right? Even though it's all my...
Everybody knows.
Now everyone knows my trick. Grab the excess sleeves box.
As we wrap things up, I did. I always usually wear my Minnesota sports clothes. I don't know if anybody notices that, but I try to wear Minnesota stuff. I'm proud of my state. But today I got in Chisago Lakes because the boy, as a sophomore, made the high school team. So I got out the lacrosse stuff. So he had his first high school lacrosse today. So proud of the hard work he put in.
Nice.
So that's out here.
Nice.
Give a little shout out to the boy. So that's all I have to say about that.
That's about all I gotta say about that. Blake, anything? A lot of closing thoughts.
I'm just ready. Like I'm ready. We're 4 days, right? 4 days.
God.
Let's go.
Oh yes. Bronson, closing thoughts?
Yeah.
Anything you want to leave us
I'm
with?
the same way. I'm very blue balls with Monarch. Been wanting it for a very long time. It's been nice seeing little sneak peeks every here and there. But man, I think one thing people are going to see too is money's going to shift towards the old cards after the tunnel vision from Monarch is going to like go into other places. But the secondary market stuff, not investment advice. But honestly, man, I'm just so excited. I can't wait for what it's going to be new to the.
We don't
game.
do that. We don't do that here. I was trying to do the Black Panther. Oh, we don't.
Oh, what?
do that here. The market advice. No, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have done anything. I should just let you talk. I'm sorry. Being a
Oh, you're good. You can cancel that out. Take two.
He gets it. This guy gets it. All right, go ahead.
What was we talking about? I'm really excited. I've got the biggest blue balls. They're volleyball for Monarch. It's gonna be a crazy. Wait, are we not supposed to say that?
I love that. No, I love
Take
it.
three.
Just keep they keep rolling the
I love
balls. Your balls are getting bigger and bluer
every
by the
take.
minute.
Every take,
I got
the balls
biggest
get bigger.
blue balls for Monarch. They're like bowling balls, but cannot wait for it, man. I mean, we've been all saying it for the last 5 months about how Monarch's going to be the next bread and butter for the game, and I'm just very excited to have my balls reduce in size for this release. It's going to be great.
Less blue. Hey, and there is a slight chance, and I'm not giving anything away. There's a slight chance there may be a preview on this channel of one of those Monarch cards. There's just throwing that out there.
Probably not. We don't know for sure.
We don't know.
Don't know,
But there might be.
There's like 99. There's like a 50%
80%
chance that we get one.
There's a 60% chance that we'll definitely possibly get just maybe a spoiler. I don't know. It might work.
That I might be interested in seeing that.
Thanks, man.
May or may not.
God, I love you,
80%
Bronson.
chance. I love
Take
you
us
guys
home,
too.
Dane. Take this podcast home.
All right. Well, thanks, Bronson, for joining us. Thank you all for listening. Bronson, before I really close this out, I want you to quick plug your channel.
I have a channel named Bronson. I talk about Flesh and Blood only. Flesh and Blood to the Moon 2021. That's about it.
Perfect. I like it. So check out Bronson on YouTube. So check that out. I personally love his videos from like day one.
I love you guys.
Yeah, let's support that channel too. Thank you guys for joining us. Check out Bronson's channel, Bronson on YouTube. Be sure to hit like and subscribe. We've got more videos coming out. We've been streaming a lot more. We're going to have plenty of streams coming out this weekend, both days. I'm not going to be there Saturday. I think it's just going to be Jason and Blake, possibly Bronson. Be on the lookout for that. And then Sunday, I'll be playing a full day, so that'll be good as well. Expect some streams there. We've got other content in the works, as well as just our typical gameplay. So hit that bell so you get those notifications. And be sure to check us out on Twitch. I've got our podcast locations up on the screen if you're watching this. If you're not and you're listening, you already found them, so don't worry about it. And we'll look forward to seeing you guys in the comment section. Peace. Jason's really close to the camera for those listening.
I had to Bronson out. I just wanted to go in Bronson.
It doesn't translate to the
down.
iPad or the iPod medium.
I'm like one of those
iPod.
paintings. I'm always looking at you no matter where you are in the room.
You are. Yeah.